What's up, guys? Today we're gonna do the VStar 1100. In my case, it's a 2008, and I'm gonna be installing the Extension Depot oil relocation kit. This is on Amazon. It cost me $189. It comes with the lines, the manifold, the replacement cap, because these are tend to break a lot on the VStars because it's really thin cast aluminum. People beat on them trying to take them off, and it's porous. It breaks. And then it comes with all the little bits. On top of this, you will need some thread locker for the bolts, and you will need some Teflon that is high resistance for these threads on these adapters that go around here. Anyways, let's get to it. All right, so this is the XVS 1100 Yamaha. All we've done up until this point is remove the air filter assembly that was right here. We're loosening up this pipe. There's a bolt here. You can see it. Yeah, that bolt right there. And then what we're trying to do, we're going to try to loosen it up and remove it, because this is what we need to get to. Remove this cover. And there's a bunch of oil. We're trying to figure out where that's coming from. But anyways, that's what we're trying to get to right now. Hopefully we can get this guy off.
My backpack?
Nah, it's not stuck in. Alright, man. All we've done it now is that we've taken the top exhaust off. Remove that sucker. You see all this oil residue? We're trying to figure out where this oil is leaking from, but that's something else. So this is what we need to get to. This front header is a royal pain in the dick to try to get out. But now that we have it all off, this makes the job so much easier. Hopefully we don't have to relocate this brake reservoir, because some people do, some people don't. It really depends. But in essence, the relocation kit's going to climb onto here. The lines are going to come from here, and you'll see afterwards. But like I said, all we've done is just remove the exhaust. Let's continue. All right, so we got it cleaned up for the most part. Now what we're going to do, we're going to remove this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, and this bolt. And that gives us access to the oil filter. We're going to reuse the oils. I wouldn't suggest it, but we literally have like less than 100 miles on this oil, so we're going to reuse it. And I think we overfilled it anyway, so we could manage a little bit of spilled oil. But that's what we're going to do. Next thing you should see is this thing removed.
With pliers here?
I don't know.
Put it
all right, so we removed this cover, the one I pointed at, and you see how we broke this little piece off? Well, we're going to remove this. That's next.
Which bolt? Where?
Yeah, I took I put all the bolts. All right, so we got that little cover off. We got the filter out, and we cleaned out that hole as much as we could. Now, according to the manual, that's step one. This is where we're at. We've removed the foot pegs, removed the exhaust. We've cleaned this up. We removed this cover, removed that cover. All the oil O-rings on the oil filter cap are still good, including this little one right here, which is a lot of people overlook. That one goes right here. Now we're gonna move on to the next step, and I'm gonna continue from there. What I'm gonna do is an extra step. I'm gonna blast some carb cleaner into all these threads to just pretty much clean it up, because there's probably oil in there. The next step is to transfer these old O-rings onto the new oil filter cap. Now, when you do spray carb cleaner in there, just keep in mind that it shares the passageway with here and through the oil drain plug, so there will be some carb spitting into the engine. Just keep that in mind. All right, so you put the cover back on. The kit includes new hardware, 55 millimeters, 50 millimeters, and then 20 millimeters. You put a washer on top of them, put them in. After you put the thread locker, right? And then you gotta torque them down to 7 foot-pounds. All right, so now you're adding these. You're gonna add these thread ends, right? Now, a little note I think people don't notice is that one side is domed and the other side is flat. So make sure the dome side goes out and the flat side goes in. And you're just gonna put some Teflon on these threads and screw it in. All right, so now I got the threads installed. Remember, the dome ends are out on both this and the manifold. So this is gonna go mounted over here in that frame rail like I explained earlier. Let me get that recorded, and then I'll come back with you guys. All right, so we got it installed. We got the nipples installed. Remember, the dome side out on both sides. Now, the way the company wants you to install this is that they want this to be kind of similar right here, like from the starter to the actual manifold. They want them pretty much like almost even, and then that makes these lines attach easy. But like I said, it clamps to this bottom frame rail, just clamps on like a normal handlebar would. Let me get these lines installed. So the manual didn't call for it, but we're gonna go ahead and install some thread sealer. Now, one important note is that these little dome caps right here, they're beveled, right? So you want to keep those mating surfaces clear. So if there's any Teflon, get it out the way. So we'll just go ahead and double check that. The next step would be to install the bottom line, and then it's the top line, and then put on the filter. All right, so we installed the lines. We still need to tighten these. A note is that I had to readjust this because the way I had it so close, it was pressing these lines outwards. So kind of keep this clamp loose. That way you could, you know, put it side to side or modify however you want, but just we're gonna tighten these. All right, after all is said and done, you got the cap installed, you got the 2 lines. Be careful with these because after you bottom them out, it will continue to twist these guys, which may strip the aluminum thread, so watch out with that. Those installed, and then the KNN filter, it actually looks pretty clean if I'm like that. Now in my case, my rear brake reservoir fit right back where it was. I'm just gonna use some zip ties to tie to the frame, but it bolted up perfect.
Get on the head over here.
What do you mean? Oh, like it's gonna carve into it?
Yeah, come look at it.
Yeah, I see, like it's like that, right?
It's downwards.
All right, hold up. All right, so the biggest pain in the butt, well, in my case, because I have the Bubs headers, is removing this stupid exhaust. It took us literally an hour and a half to get the sucker off, and let alone clearing that little nut right there and then putting the O-ring back on. But we're still not done. We just kind of got it in place. As for now, the exhaust is already mounted. Lines are tightened. I would highly recommend retaking the torque specs on all these bolts. They're 7 foot-pounds. You're already there, might as well do it. I think I was developing on a leak. Hopefully that fixed it. Anyways, let's get the rest of it fixed. All right, so we got everything back installed. We got both exhausts. The royal pain in the ass is the main reason why I decided to do this. But now what you're gonna do, since there's no filter in here anymore, there's a big void that the oil needs to fill up, right? So now what you're gonna do is that you're slowly gonna put some oil in here. You're gonna keep looking down here. Right now you can't see, but it's empty. Like there's no oil in the sight glass. So we're gonna fill it up to where that oil's in between the dead center. Let it run for maybe a few seconds, or maybe a minute. Then let it shut off. Let it settle again. More than likely that sight glass is gonna be empty again because the system's not gonna be circulating that oil. And then we're gonna put some oil to the sight glass, cycle it, and then see whenever it settles, when it's cold and it's in the middle, we're good.